Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Wednesday, 3rd July 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Hurricane Beryl goes island hopping, leaving a trail of death and destruction. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Thousands of people were left without power, with scores more forced to find temporary shelters after Hurricane Beryl slammed the islands of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Tri-Island state of Grenada on Monday. Manasseh Stanislaus of DBS News World reports.
The first major hurricane recorded for the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season caused havoc in the Lesser Antilles on Monday, 1st July. Barbados and St. Vincent and the Grenadines suffered severe damage. As Hurricane Beryl traveled to Grenada, the island was not spared by the ferocious storm, as it was a Category 4 hurricane. Grenada's Prime Minister spoke on the devastating impact caused by Hurricane Beryl.
We are coming to grips with the reality of the devastation that the Category 4 hurricane has wreaked over Grenada, and in particular over Carriacou and Petite Martinique, which bore the brunt of the passage of Hurricane Beryl as the eye of the hurricane passed directly over Carriacou and Petite Martinique. Since yesterday afternoon, we've had very little communication with Carriacou and Petite Martinique. It was not until this morning that I was able to speak with Minister Tevin Andrews by satellite phone.
Prime Minister Michel listed the infrastructure which was most affected by Hurricane Beryl. The eye of the storm passed over 2 of the mainland territories. Thoughts have shifted to the recovery process.
There is no power. There's almost complete destruction of homes and buildings on the island. The roads are not passable, and in many instances they're cut off because of the large quantity of debris strewn all over the streets, and obviously the danger posed by dung power lines. Minister Andrews has tentatively reported at least 2 deaths as a result of the passage of Hurricane Beryl.
Barbados received tailwinds from Beryl and suffered extensive water damage and high tropical force winds. Prime Minister Mia Mottley thanked citizens for adhering to the advisories given in an effort to save lives.
As predicted, it passed 80 miles south of the country, and therefore what we got was predominantly tropical force, sustained tropical storm force winds with hurricane gusts. From the reports thus far here at the DEM, it appears as though the majority of the damage is related to coastal infrastructure or coastal assets.
Mia Mottley reminded citizens of the danger associated with non-adherence to weather advisories. While emergency personnel are stationed to assist in times of disaster, citizens should not venture out from safety, even when it appears that the storm has calmed.
I did notice, however, that there are some who continue to go out, and I think the minister dealt with that earlier, and we really do need to begin to understand that when we do that, we put potentially at risk the lives of the emergency personnel, who then not only are their lives at risk, but if they are required somewhere else that is even more demanding, then of course we have a problem.
On Wednesday, 8th July, Beryl is expected to bring life-threatening winds and storm surge to Jamaica, according to the National Hurricane Center. As Beryl passes over or near Jamaica, its winds are forecast to decrease to 110 miles per hour, just under Category 3 status, but remaining dangerous. For the DBS News World, Manasseh Stanislaus reporting.
Hurricane Beryl is bearing down on Jamaica as a powerful Category 4 storm after causing widespread destruction and killing at least 6 people elsewhere in the Caribbean. NBC News' Sam Brock reports.
Hurricane Beryl, now barreling towards Jamaica, has a potentially catastrophic Category 4, expected to be the worst storm to hit here in nearly 2 decades.
I'm encouraging all Jamaicans to take the hurricane as a serious threat.
It's also the strongest hurricane to ever form in the Atlantic this early in the season, linked to warming waters from climate change.
Ignoring climate change is deadly and dangerous and irresponsible.
Hurricane Beryl rapidly intensified as it made landfall in Grenada on Monday, devastating the islands of Petite Martinique and Carriacou.
The situation is grim. There is no power. There's almost complete destruction of homes and buildings on the island.
Officials say the storm has killed at least 6 people, a number they caution will likely rise. Beryl also leaving a trail of destruction in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, including ripping the roof off this school.
This is actually the strongest storm that we've had come through St. Vincent in my lifetime.
In Venezuela, water rushed down streets as families waded through water looking for their belongings. And at this marina in Barbados, boats tossed on their sides, sitting atop piles of debris.
This is a lot of work.
Tonight, heavy winds and rain hitting the Dominican Republic. While here in Jamaica, businesses line this stretch of road on the Caribbean, those selling fish and drinks, not about to leave their livelihoods.
I've done it already. I got through it and I can do it again and get through this one.
Sam Brock joins us live tonight from Jamaica. And Sam, as that hurricane bears down on that island nation, there are no mandatory evacuations underway?
Yeah, Tom, that's absolutely correct. Look, it is incredibly calm right now. Look at the water behind me, and yet this could be a generational event tomorrow. And yet, we are not looking right now at any evacuations that are underway. And Tom, all 3 major airports all closed tomorrow. It is not clear when they will reopen.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Aubrey Norton was re-elected leader of the People's National Congress Reform on the closing day of the party's 22nd biennial conference. Dacia Richards will provide more details on the election and its implications for the party's future.
On Sunday, the People's National Congress Reform, PNCR, conducted its party elections where Aubrey Norton returned unopposed as leader. Norton had the majority of votes and will be the party's presidential candidate in the upcoming general elections as announced by party member Mervyn Williams.
A motion was tabled and passed. The resolution is that the person who was elected leader of the People's National Congress Reform at the elections. So that resolution declared that the person who secures the office of leader will be the party's presidential candidate in the upcoming general and regional elections, whenever they come.
With 844 votes, Sherwin Holder was re-elected as the party's chairman. In a sit-down with Mervyn Williams, Holder said that this was the party's largest Congress, and there was support and enthusiasm seen this year that has not been present for decades.
There were a few out there saying all sorts of things about the Congress and our ability to pull it off, but the support was overwhelming. We would have raised over and above the funds in Congress. By no means it's cheap.
The 3-day Congress ended on Sunday, the 30th of June, where Vince Roy Jordan and Elizabeth Williams-Niles were also re-elected as vice chairpersons, while Elson Lowe was elected as treasurer. Meanwhile, the names of members to sit on the 15-member Central Executive Committee will be shared in a subsequent newscast. For AGP Nightly News, I am Dacia Richards.
As one of the biggest sporting events in the world comes to an end, Prime Minister Barbados Mia Mottley has thanked Barbadians for their efforts in making the hosting of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup final a success. More in this snippet from Prime Minister Mia Mottley via CBC News.
My dear friends, the last few years was a challenge for all of us. And that is why when the opportunity came for us to offer Barbados to be the hosts of the Cricket World Cup finals, we jumped at it. Because we wanted to signal to ourselves first and to the rest of the world that we could turn the corner and resume normal business. Pursue the great transformation that we know is ours to pursue. And there was no better way to do it than to get ourselves ready for this event. We didn't have time, 6 months effectively between the announcement and indeed the hosting of these finals. We could not have been here if all of us didn't come together and lift heavy weight. You hear me say all the time, many hands make light work. Well, it did. I want to use this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you on behalf of a grateful people and a grateful nation, for all who have volunteered, for all who played their part in helping to get Kensington Oval ready, for all who worked to be able to deal with the logistics of bringing in from the media to the cricket teams, to the Barbados Cricket Association, to the police, to the Barbados Defence Force, to all who have had to stand up from the hospital right back through to all of the contingent arrangements. And of course to the volunteers, not just the adult volunteers, but the little boys and girls who made us so proud as they walked on that field every night and held up those flags. We say thank you. Why? Because we know that there are moments like these that remind us that whatever we put our minds to, we can achieve as a people. I am so happy to be Prime Minister of Barbados, and I just simply want to say to all of you that this is who we are, and let us never cease in ensuring that the resilience that we have in us can allow us to rise up and work together and achieve whatever we set our mind to. And we did it because we not only knew it was important to be able to prove to ourselves again that we're capable of extraordinary feats, but also because we know it will lead to a better life for our people in so many respects. What else can I say but thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
A Trinidadian economist, Professor Roger Hussein, says, if Indian businessman Naveen Jindal is not tainted by corruption, then he ought to be given the chance to invest in Trinidad and Tobago. More from Peter Christopher in this edition of CNC3 Business Watch.
Economics Professor Roger Hussein says Trinidad and Tobago needs investors to uplift its economy. And in this regard, he is advising that Indian businessman Naveen Jindal be given a chance once there are no corruption charges hanging over his head.
As long as the gentleman is clean and clear to conduct economic activity and business transactions in Trinidad and Tobago, invest. But if it is he has some kind of problem or case hanging on his head and the courts have to deal with it, well then we look for someone else.
Hussein was speaking to Guardian Media earlier today at the 4th Oil and Gas Conference hosted by the University of the West Indies. On Monday, opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar reiterated her call for Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley to explain to the country the allegations surrounding Jindal, who's reportedly interested in the Petrotrin refinery. Hussein also had some advice to the government about the refinery.
Economic activity around the refinery has fallen like about 40%. I looked at some of the numbers, and if we could get a foreign investor using private sector capital to restart the refinery, by all means restart the refinery. Once it does not depend on the state for handouts or for any type of subventions.
He adds this will also have several positive outcomes, including job creation.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.